Pathmonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by more than 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds, let the artificial intelligence do all the work, and increase conversions by 50% while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode of Pathmonk Presents. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Adam Padzik from Agility CMS. Good to have you on the show today.
Thanks.
How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Happy to have you. So, Adam, we were talking about Agility offline for a second, and I said, I just want you to tell me more about Agility and to tell our listeners about Agility because that's obviously you do a much better job than I could do. So, what's the heart of what you do with Agility CMS?
Yeah. So we're a leading headless content management system provider. And what really makes us stand apart is that our software is actually really easy to use and it's backed by truly incredible support. So, real people, responsive teams, getting in there with developers, with content creators, not just to get people set up, but then if they require any additional help and things like that. So that's what, we constantly hear from our customers that they really appreciate that. But we're also, a really quickly evolving headless content management system. So really quickly, the history of CMSs was that it went from what we call monoliths, where everything that people were doing was all in one. You were basically working on something that was then output right to the front end, your website, whatever it was, down to where CMSs became headless, and then the front end was decoupled from the back end. And this presents a lot of benefits, security, flexibility, etc., but created its own interesting challenges in terms of what you're working on. Yes, it can be output to all sorts of different screens and kiosks and apps and things like that. But really, you want to know as a content editor, what is that going to look like? I need to see what I'm working on, what the actual end user is going to see. So that's where our evolution is. And that's where we're now providing a lot of value for our customers. So yeah, it basically comes down to being a leading content management system for all sorts of different industries and different customers.
I like it. I like your use of the word revolution, right? It sets the tone for, what you can expect from working with you guys, or maybe the culture inside the company. I know maybe you tell me, but, revolution is a pretty powerful word. So that's cool.
Yeah, you've got to keep evolving, right? Because otherwise, and I mean, I don't have to tell you, and you're at Pathmonk, you guys know every day is a new challenge, is a new evolution, revolution, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, you got to stay on top of it, stay nimble.
Right. Well, that's a good one. Yeah. Which type of businesses or industries are you able to revolutionize, let's say then?
We cover a broad range of industries. We do have a lot of experience with customers such as financial institutions, entertainment companies. So in Canada, the largest cinema chain, Cineplex, is our customer. And it really runs the gamut. We have retail, we have manufacturing, all sorts of different companies. And we work, like I mentioned, what's interesting is, we learn a lot too as we work with these customers that come on board, because every type of customer and every industry has its own interesting sort of challenges, the different connections that have to be made, the output on a website, behind it, there's so many connections, there's so many databases and everything. And the way that all works together is actually quite interesting as you go from industry to industry.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. And the variety of it, right? But you said that there are patterns that might kind of, I guess, make you say, well, there's this core issue that we solve for these companies, right? Or is that the case? Is that a core problem that you say, okay, for all sort of the companies we work with, this is a typical problem and we're able to solve it?
You know what I would say? I would say in the world of content management systems, I think the biggest challenge that we see is just how teams end up using these tools and what happens when they actually come across a situation where they need help. So again, that can happen from the beginning, and you're onboarded and everything's great, and you've had the sales pitch and everybody was like with you every day and sold you this great thing and everything is happy and hunky-dory, but then you got to start implementing it, right? And okay, maybe you run into an issue, or maybe you're not 100% sure, right? And with software like CMSs, you're dealing with development teams, you're dealing with security teams, you're dealing with the actual marketers and the content editors who then have to take this tool and start every day, I don't know, deploying a blog post, updating web pages. And when you think about how much can possibly, not, I mean, yes, go wrong, but not just go wrong. Like, you need to sort of have a partner in that. And I think that's where we solve this issue for our customers. Is we go in there knowing that we are going to face these things and we want to help people. Our history, actually, prior to just being a straight up software company, we are actually also an agency. And so we have a lot of that in our DNA. So we want to help our customers. We see our customers as an extension of us. And so again, it kind of, and I think, again, in this world of AI and everything that's happening now, that revolution, we're really doubling down on the human support aspect of things. We've had our CTO in there with development teams, like trying to fix things as they come up, or, I don't like that I'm bringing up, like, things going wrong, because that's not what I really want to focus on.
But it's true, right? It's reality, right? So
yeah, it is, right? And then what's going to happen when you need help? You're going to go through a whole like ticketing system and automatic replies and call centers somewhere where that don't really know your business? Or are you going to deal with somebody who's going to be like, all right, Rick, let's go. Yeah, let's do a call. Here you go, text.
that's also, I mean, it's a sign of good customer service. And also, I think the background, the agency background you mentioned, it's so important in that sense, because you're able to offer a service, right? And you have so many different components that things could go wrong. When you then go into software, then you got a solid service, and you're trying to scale it up in terms of how many people can I deliver this to, and there's that consulting kind of component to it, that you can offer the expertise as well as the tool, to make things happen, right? Yeah, super interesting. So say I'm a developer or an editor, or any of the use cases that you might have will have a persona, right? So how would they typically find you in terms of acquisition channels? What do you use the most, and how would they find you?
Yeah, that's really interesting, because in our world, it's actually several groups. So if you think about a company looking to procure a new piece of software, in this case, a CMS, you may have procurement involved. You will have the development team involved. You will have marketing involved. Maybe there's an agency or development partner that you're working with. And so any of these people could be obviously doing their research. Like, we can leave the sort of like relationship piece aside, because perhaps you've already had a relationship, maybe somebody and you speak to them, etc. But if you're doing straight up online research, you're going out there and you're searching for articles, like comparison articles. You're going on review websites. So I see you got your score from Capterra in your background, so we're on there too. G2, all these places, we want to make sure that we're well represented there. And straight up SEO, right? So what are the type of things people are looking for? And the more technical users are looking for things often specific to coding languages, frameworks, things like that. So we want to make sure we're found for that. And of course, the community aspect is super important. So there are threads on places like Reddit and other, even more specialized forums where people are discussing these things. So trying to be present there and have our voice heard. And so I would say search is probably, for these digital inbound channels, is probably most important. Bottom of the funnel, people looking to right there trial something. So we offer a free trial. We want to make sure that that's a good experience. Personalized demos, things like that. We participate in social media, heavily focused on LinkedIn at the moment. Those channels get, more interesting. You got to be careful, I think, especially with the more technical target. very low bar for bullshit. Nobody, not a lot of people that want to be sold to in general, but especially in the technical space. And I fully respect that, and I totally get it as a marketer. I don't like it either if I know that somebody's just straight up selling to me. But as you know, I'm sure there's such a wide range of things you can offer people, from knowledge to, a helping hand in some way without even being selly. So, yeah, I would say it's a mix of those. And hopefully when people are ready and they're looking for what we sell, the type of, not just CMS, but also headless CMS specifically, that we're there when they're looking for us.
Yeah. Okay. That's very good, because what you were talking about actually makes me think about relevancy, right? Um, I'm not gonna BS my way through a blog post for someone that's looking for something technical, right? If I'm a dev and I'm reading it, I'm like, I know exactly what you're trying to do. Just give me the information I'm looking for, and I can get it over with. So people come through SEO, right? And they'll search for different keywords and whatnot. You'll come up on the search engines, and they land on your website. Or, I'm assuming, so blog content, your main website and whatnot. So the question here is, how important do you think is your website is in terms of attracting new clients? Do you think it has any? Then it's a second part, right? Do you think it has any standout strengths or maybe areas that could be improved?
Well, a website in general is the most important, piece of real estate you're going to have. It's your biggest own channel. You have full control. It's up to you. And again, if you do your job, you will show up. But if you show up, then when they click through and they're on there, you really need to grab that attention. And we get into content, and again, that kind of like delivering that value really quickly, not wasting people's time. We're dealing with, short attention spans, et cetera, et cetera. So 100% probably, the most important piece of real estate you have. And then in terms of strengths, do you mean specifically for us?
Yes. Yeah, anything you notice or you learn about what makes a great converting website, let's say.
Yeah, I would say all your technical stuff's got to be up to snuff. So your, page load speeds, all of that kind of stuff. That's, the technical SEO stuff definitely have to be down pat. And I think it has the second biggest thing, just as important, your content just has to be to the point with your target in mind, and really stripping away all of that BSE fluffy, especially as marketers, we tend to fall down these rabbit holes, blah, 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 rapid and all this crap. No, like this isn't about, you're not there to, people aren't there to get entertained, or they're not there to, at least for us B2B marketers, like somebody's there to check out a product, give them what they want, focus in, make sure you understand your strengths as a company. So I mentioned in our case, it's ease of use and best in class support. So as a marketer, I want to make sure that that's permeating everything that somebody sees when they land on the page, and just getting them, making that path to conversion as easy as possible. Figure out what people are looking for. Is it more information about certain features? Is it the kind of customers you have, industries that you serve, etc. Get that up there quickly and make it really easy to grab that, free trial or sign up for that demo. And yeah, that would be it.
Okay. Okay, good. You mentioned features, right? New features. I know about something new that you guys have that's called Website Studio, right? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Web Studio, which we launched last week, is our new experience for editing, previewing, and collaborating on content. So um, the nature of enterprise level content management systems is that they're complicated, because when you and I go and create a website, for our hobby, whatever that is, we go on and we use these WYSIWYG editors like a Wix or whatever, and it's super easy, and we drag our image here, and then Adam's website is up and running. Cool. But Adam's website doesn't have to maybe connect to a bunch of databases in the backend, or have APIs for, social media tools or whatever it is, right? So when you're a business, these things are, it's complicated. The ecosystem is much bigger. You got to make all sorts of different connections. It's just more complex. So traditionally, as CMS has evolved and headless CMS became a thing, which is what we sell, the back end was detached from the front end, which meant that people who are creating content could work in the back end, and then that content could be disseminated to any type of website or app or kiosk or whatever. Now you see, we go places out in the real world and there are screens and there are things that are constantly updated with content. So that's great. And again, that's a benefit. Security is a benefit because, you've got things that are kind of detached a little bit. So you're not necessarily endangering your whole ecosystem again if something goes wrong. So these things are great. But what it meant was also that it might not be as easy to right away see what something looks like when you're working on it. So, you could be working on a piece of content that you would be outputting as a website, but then you would have to go through a few hoops before you could actually see that preview. Maybe it would take some time to load, things like that. Not to mention if, and again, in a company versus you building your own website as just a regular person, in a company, you are going through things like approval processes, like reviews, proofreading. And normally that would mean, me emailing you and being like, hey, Rick, take a look at this copy. Can you let me know if you approve it? And then you'd email me back, and then I'd go into the CMS and I'd update it. Well, so what we've done with Web Studio is we've actually improved all those things that I just mentioned. So now you log into your CMS Agility, and in there you can actually start assembling your web page or web pages, and you can actually see what they're going to look like. Not only that, you can, resize the screen. You could see how it responds to smaller outputs, smaller screens. You can then actually comment and say, at Rick, can you please approve this image? Are you okay with this? And you can reply back to me. I'll get a notification. So it all happens inside the platform and makes that so much easier. And again, I don't know if I mentioned it already, but immediate preview, immediate live view of what that's going to look like. So speed of how quickly you can get things done, just the ease of collaborating with people, like, is incredible. And if anybody's ever had to do that, like inside a company, you will appreciate, how much time you can save just by getting all that done in one tool.
I mean, well, there's something very relevant that's happening at the moment. We're going through some changes of the website ourselves, and the way to do real-time collaboration is a Google Doc, which sometimes gets scrappy, and that's fine. But this sounds perfect, right? For something like what we're doing. Yeah, I'm sure our head of marketing will love it. I'll let her know about it.
We should talk.
Right. Sounds good. So I just want to change the pace a little bit and talk about you as a leader, Adam. So what's the day in the life? What are the key tasks that you focus on a day to day?
Yeah. So, we're at the moment, we're still a startup. So the team is not huge. I came on board about 7 months ago now, and I'm growing the marketing department. So right now I'm a bit of a, you're looking at the marketing department, but we're about to double and triple almost very soon in the marketing department. So right now I'm sort of stretched between everything from strategy right down to execution. Day in the life could involve anything from, planning my budget next year to writing content for social media to publishing blog posts and everything in between, dealing with reviews, and on and on and on. So right now it's sort of like everything, but I'm definitely looking to, grow the team. Where there's the interesting thing about, being a startup in today's marketing environment is that no matter your size, it's still the same amount of work to be present on social media channels, to have your website up to date and SEO running great and stuff like that. So that doesn't, all those things are present even if you're small. So yeah, just kind of a jack of all trades right now, but it's super interesting because it's helping me rediscover a lot of the tools and really get in there, because like, again, the modern marketing stack, again, I see HubSpot in your background. We're also on HubSpot, and all, it's amazing how far these tools have come, how many options there are and stuff like that. But it takes time, and that's why people specialize in it, I think, because the things you can do with those tools are incredible, but you need time.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. In terms of time, unfortunately, we're coming to the end of the interview, but we can optimize because we got some rapid fire questions coming up. So The only rule that we have for it is that only short and crisp answers are allowed. That sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So text or video?
Video.
Okay. What's the most recent video you watched and why did it stick with you?
The most recent video I watched, trying to, we see so much video every day.
Yeah.
Oh, you got me there. I'm just trying to, I've been watching a lot of movie trailers recently. So I saw the trailer for Heretic, which is a new movie with Hugh Grant, that's coming out in like tomorrow, and it looks really, really cool. So it really stuck with me because unlike a lot of modern trailers, it didn't give away too much. I think modern trailers give away way too much. I've stopped watching them in general, but this one, I couldn't stop myself. So anyway, that was that. Sorry, short answer.
No, that's good. That's good actually, because that makes me think. And then I'm just gonna derail for a second, but it stuck with you because it delivered on the promise, right? That's usually just giving you a teaser or about what the film is going to be, and
Exactly.
And there's probably a lesson there for marketing is to not reveal too much and not to use that much fluff, as we talked about earlier. So
I think especially when it comes to B2B, because really, like as a B2B marketer, you know what I really want to do is get you as a prospect in front of my sales guy, because he's going to be able to actually fully demo and explain things. So my job is to probably get you in there just enough to be like, oh yeah, I want to find out more.
That's a good one. That's a good one. If you could automate one thing that you find yourself doing over and over and over again, what would it be?
I think that would be just scanning the web for mentions of us or on topics that we need to or want to participate in, and then crafting sort of like comments or responses to that. A human should still review that and approve it, but I'd love to see where the AI of today goes with that, because I think the data's all there. It still takes humans a long time to be able just to check all this and where should we participate. So I'd like to see that automated.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So last one, if you could give advice to yourself when you were first starting out as a marketer, what would it be?
I would say really research and understand how your education is going to fit in with your career path. I don't regret anything, but I invested time and money into education, where a lot of other marketers that I've worked with have not, and I don't always see the correlation. But again, I think there's a lot of intangibles there. It's more than your job; it's who you are as a person and things like that. But you can, maybe this is like micro sort of targeting and analysis, but really figure out how you want what you're going to spend the time and money on your education, how that's going to work for you in your career.
Okay. Very good. Adam, thanks a lot for being on the show with us today. I want to give you the last word. So the last question would be, if someone forgets about everything we talked about today, anything, what's the one thing they should remember about the work you're doing at Agility?
Mm-hmm. I would say you should remember that just because you work at a big company and you run one or multiple complicated websites doesn't mean that your content management system needs to be clunky, hard to use, etc. Just remember, easy to use, great support. That's Agility. Check us out.
Simple as that. Awesome. Thanks again, Adam. Yes, sir.
Likewise.